Right, I'll just review for Codex Space Marines. I've already covered part 1. We've covered pretty much just over half of the Codex in that. It is quite exhaustive, it's huge, there's so many units here. I think perhaps Space Marines now have triple the amount of units that some of the factions have. So we're just going to cover all of them, go for each of the profiles, talk about unit combinations, different weapons, options and so on. A lot of Tactica involved, and then just reviewing the units and sort of getting an idea what units I like to include for my Imperial Fists, and then also this new Primaris Space Marine project as well. Just to mention, I've got mine from gamingfigures.com. They do Games Workshop and other gaming systems, all at discounted rates. You can check them out on their website. So we've covered all the fluff we went through, and then we've reached fast attack section they're up to. Now we've covered HQs and troops, and then all of elite has been covered as well. So now we're going to get into the fast attack options here for Space Marines. So bikes first of all, which I think have improved to some degree. 14-inch move for them, so they can move an extra 2 inches. It used to be 12-inch move, so that's a good start. Weapon skill, ballistic skill of 3+, strength 4, toughness 5, 2 wounds as well for bikes. Just doubles their durability pretty much. 1 attack though, leadership 7 to 3 up safe. So pretty tough, pretty durable, and nice and fast, so there's no complaints about these. Your biker sergeant there, he'll get an extra attack, 2 attacks. And then the attack bike, cool, it comes with 4 wounds. Yeah, no, pretty good. All the same speed. So I'll try and get an idea of how cost effective these are. Fast attack. Okay, so 25 points for a bike now. They have gone up in price, I think. And then the attack bike's 35. Not bad though, really, not bad. Now, this unit contains 1 biker sergeant and 2 Space Marine bikers. Right, so it's a minimal squad of 3 of them. So 75 points straight away. You can include up to 3 additional bikers, or up to 5. You can also include a single attack bike. The Space Marine bikers and biker sergeant are each armed with bolt pistol, frag grenades and crack grenades. Each of their Space Marine bikers is equipped with a twin bolt gun. So twin bolt guns, rapid fire 2, so if you get within 12 you're going to be on 4 shots a time. Okay, not that deadly really. So it's the speed and a pretty good durability is the uses for these things. 5 has okay, but it's not going to be deadly. I need to try and think of a good combination for these. Now, pretty good use for them. I'm just thinking before we come to all of the options here is Melter, because of your bonus when you get nice and close, and they have the ability to get close quickly. You know, get within 12 inches or 6 inches, they can do it pretty fast. You get your movement 14 there, so I think Melter's pretty effective for these. Now let's see what you can go for. Space Marine biker and biker sergeant each armed. We've covered that. The Space Marine attack biker is equipped with a twin bolt gun and heavy bolter, and is crewed by 2 Space Marines with bolt pistols, frag and crack grenades. Right, so they all of these, including the attack biker armed with bolt pistols, so even got a bit of shooting in close combat. Yeah, no, pretty good. So they also include a single attack bike, so you could go for like 3 of them, and then just add an attack bike in, and that is 10 wounds in total. So it's sort of the scale of a tactical squad in size. Now, the Space Marine sergeant may replace his bolt pistol with items from the sergeant equipment list. So I reckon no. Oh, 1 weapon could be chosen from the following: Combi Melter. Yes, you can do it. So I'd go for Combi Melter, I reckon. Depends what you're going to use them for. Another option, a decent option I reckon to use these for is to ambush hordes and lightly armed units. So you go for the kit them all out with as many flamers as possible, and then use, after you fire those, use your bolters, the twin bolters, just to pick off what's left. I think it will work pretty good. And you can, the options are here. Look, the sergeant can go for combi melter if you want to go for that option, or combi, or you can go for storm bolter, or you can go for combi flamer. Yeah. So storm bolter is quite a good option. You've got your twin bolters, storm bolter on top of that, so all of a sudden chucking out quite a lot of shots. Okay, so there's that option. That's the two avenues. That's what I think. I've seen them done with plasma, and they sort of pick off a wound here and there, and they get blown away. So you want them to have a bit of a punch behind them. Yeah, and the great advantage of flamers, maybe say, well, if I move up close, I'm going to get charged in combat. If you kit them all out with flamers, you're going to get the same shots on Overwatch, automatically hitting the target. So they're pretty well protected against the hordes, if the hordes respond by trying to charge the bikes. But no, I would... you've got 20 Genesters rushing at one of your tanks. Send the bikers in, tons of flamer hits. Form a screen around the tank. If they charge the bikers, tons of hits again on Overwatch. Deadly. And then they got the wounds to absorb the damage as well. No, I can't see a problem with bikers here at all. Now, that's the sergeant. Any biker may replace his bolt pistol with a chain sword. Okay, I'd probably keep the pistols. Up to two Space Marine bikers may replace their bolt pistol with an item from the special weapons list. So that's fantastic, because you got your sergeant covered with his sergeant weapons, and the other two remaining guys can then take their special weapons as well, which is flamer, grav gun, melter gun, plasma gun. Fantastic. Yeah, so go give them 2 melter guns or 2 flamers. Brilliant. Then we've got the attack bike replaces heavy bolter with a multi-melter. Okay, so there's that option available. So you could kit them out with, in total, 3 melters and a multi-melter, or 3 flamers, all of the shooting ability they have, and the attack bike having the twin bolters and heavy bolter as well, options. The only disadvantage here with the heavy bolter is it's heavy. Yep, so if you move, which you're going to be moving, it's going to be -1 to hit, so that's not... And the same for melter as well. Yeah, so a bit awkward there for the attack bike, which is a shame. Because whichever weapon you go for, it's going to be -1 to hit, so not so good. Which is a shame. Maybe regular bikers is the way to go. Okay, now just want to find out something from the stats here about the melter gun. It's assault. Okay, so you can fight, and that's another cool thing actually, assault. We'll see if the combi melter is assault. Just seeing if you can get that extra bit of movement and still fire as well. Just adds a bit more flexibility to the bikers. Let's see, it's going to be across here. Combi melter. Yeah, melter gun is assault as well still. So you've got that option if you take those to move 14, add a d6, and then you've got your movement. Nope, it's actually really reliable. When this unit advances, add 6 to its move characteristic for that movement phase instead of rolling a dice. So it's 20-inch potential there, it's still able to fire. So excellent ambush unit. Yeah, really, really good. Same with the flamers as well. God, actually, because the flamers are assault. Just flamer, assault d6. You could really catch your opponent out with some quick ambushes. Your potential move of 20 inches with these. It's almost double what they're used to. Still able to fire. And if you went for triple flamers, 1 combi and 2 regulars, you really ambush the opponent there. Okay. Yeah, no, That's a real possibility. Because you're on 75 points for a squad of 3, give them some flamers, you're not even spending 100 points. Not bad at all. They're never going to struggle with morale because there's only 3 of them. Now, you've got combat squads, you can break them down into squads of 3 as well. But I'd probably go for separate squads so that each gets its special weapons options. Just that. No, bike squads are fine. No problem with them at all. So then we're on assault squad. Here, just Space Marines with jump packs pretty much. 13 points a time, just paying the points for regular Marine. You then go for, with jump packs, you pay an extra 3 points. That will get you their movement increased to 12, and they get fly as well, which means they can pull out of combat and shoot, which is quite good. So you can go for 4 of them as the standard loadout. You can take another 5. They're armed with bolt, pistol, chainsaw, frag and crack grenades. So just going to sit at that cost. There, 16 points. Squad of 10s, 160 points. The sergeant may replace his bolt pistol with an item from the melee or pistols. The sergeant may replace his chainsaw with an item from the melee weapons. The sergeant may take a combat shield, which is a 5+ Invon. The sergeant may take melter bombs, which I think is a pretty good option. And then up to 2 Space Marines may replace their bolt pistol, chainsaw with a flamer, or plasma pistol and chainsword. For every 5 models in the unit, 1 model replaces bolt pistol and chainsaw with an eviscerator. And then the entire unit may take jump packs. So eviscerator, I'd imagine, is pretty deadly. It's pretty expensive, no doubt. It's 22 points. Would you spend that on a 2 attack model? So the eviscerator is ×2 strength. There's strength 8, AP -4 and D3 points of damage. But then look, when you attack it's -1 to hit. So 2 attacks and even 4s, you get a hit. I just don't think it's worth it. Just the attacks level so low. So I think for the rule, I find 3 attacks or more is worth giving an upgrade. If it's 2 attacks or less, it's just you're wasting points. It'd be better spend them. Have a captain and give him a decent weapon and have him near the squad, give him a jump pack, something like that. So combat shield, combat squads available, jump pack assault. So you can get that deep strike ability as well, as long as you're 9 inches away from the opponent. But that's the assault squad. They're alright to fill out the army, but I wouldn't expect anything too amazing from them. Right, so then Landspeeders. Very interested in these. I'm a massive fan of Landspeeders, just love the models. Game wise, they're okay. They were alright in 7th, they had some pretty good moments. I've got a bad feeling they're super expensive now in 8th edition, which is a shame. Let's have a look. Landspeeder starts at 70 points. That's before you add your weapons on top. These are expensive now. They never used to be as bad. Their movement 16, they are nice and quick. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, toughness 5, it's pretty low. 6 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 7, 3 up save. They're not as well protected anymore because that 3+ saves just can be so easily reduced. And then also there's no jink either to protect them. So you can take a squadron of 3 of them. Each model is equipped with a heavy bolter. Let's get an idea of costs here. 10 points. Your standard Landspeeder with a heavy bolter is 80 points. Oh, it's horrendous. Yeah. Bikers are much more viable. That's a squad of 3 bikers for that, with more firepower, way more durable. Yeah, it's a bit of a tragedy here with Landspeeders. Okay. Now, another massive problem for these. Let's just have a look. Yeah, they're all carrying heavy weapons here, so if you move, you're on -1 to hit. That's absolutely tragic for these now. Okay, so Any model may replace its heavy bolter with multi-melter, which is what I was going for with my fists. 27 points, so that's about 100 points now to take a multi-melter. If you move, which you're probably going to have to, you know, to get within 12 and so on, you're going to need 4s to hit. So one shot, 4 to hit, and you're paying almost 100 points for it. Any model may replace the following weapons, or may take the following weapons. One of them: assault cannon, heavy flamer, or typhoon missile launcher. Oh no, you can't even take double multi-melter. Oh dear, tragic. That's utterly tragic. Oh dear, it's a sad day for the Landspeeder, I'm afraid. So even my double multi-melter Landspeeder option is not even viable anymore. Okay. And then you've also got to pay out heavy flame 17 points. Typhoon missile launcher, I hate to think. 50 points. You're almost paying. You get a bow predator. If you fully kit this out, you could get a bow predator for the same points cost. Getting close to it. Special rules then: anti-grav upwash. Models in this unit have move characteristic of 20 instead of 16, whilst the unit contains 3 models. Oh, I'm sorry. Landspeeders are no good at the moment. Next is attack bikes. We've seen them already in the entry for bikers, but you can take a single one of them. You can add 1 more or 2 more. They all come with heavy bolters. Problem is when they move. You can take multi-melters, and that's it. That's just them covered, just there. The attack bikes, the movement thing's a problem for them. The reduction in their ballistic skill. Okay, scout bikes. Never really thought about taking these, but could well be an option here. So, scout bikers are 23 points as opposed to 25. So you're saving 2 points a time. It's same stats except your save drops to a 4+. So I just stick with regular bikers, I think. They come with starters shotguns though, combat knife, frag and crack grenades, twin bolt guns on the bikes as well. So we know those weapons from scouts. I've already covered them in the troops section of part 1. Sergeant's got access to that equipment. Up to 3 bikers may replace their twin bolt guns with Astartes grenade launchers. Astartes grenade launcher is either, it's range 24, either assault D6 strength 3 and then AP 0 and 1 damage, or crack grenade, so 3 crack grenade shots you could do. Yes, because it's assault, it's not grenade. Yep, so I think they all get to fire them. Is range 24, assault 1, strength 6, AP -1 and D3 points damage. That's not bad. That's not bad, cause a bit of trouble with that. You've got combat squads and the turbo boost rules for them. Okay, so that's scout bikers. Not too bad. See how much this Astartes grenade launcher costs. 11 points. That's a fair bit actually to pay up for that. Yeah, so far the best fast attack I reckon is bikers. I would say, just my opinion, but I reckon bikers, and then equip them well enough, I think is worth doing. Okay, so now we're on to the Inceptor Squads. They're 30 points each. They look quite pricey here. Movement 10, it's not as quick, but still quick enough. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, toughness 5, 2 wounds each, 2 attacks, leadership 7 to 3 up save. It's a squad of 3 of them. With the sergeant here, he gets an extra attack. You can take 3 more if you want a squad of 6. Armed with 2 assault bolters. Let's have a look. Assault bolter. Oh no! They're 15 points each. See, they're 60 points a model. Very, very expensive. So you're on 180 points for 3 of them. Now, very, very expensive. Now, assault bolters, range 18, assault 3, so they get 6 shots each model, so 18 shots you're going to get. Strength 5, AP -1. Not very high impact that. Not very high impact at all. War gear, all models in the unit may replace their 2 assault bolters with 2 plasma exterminators. Plasma exterminator is 28 points times 2, so you're looking at about 90 points a model. Something seriously wrong with that. Let's just check this. This is horrendous. Okay, big problems here. Inceptor. They're 30 points, does not include war gear. So you then go to take the plasma exterminator. Just checking. Plasma exterminator, 28 points per weapon. Yep. So you're looking at about 85 points each for a 2 wound Space Marine, Primaris Marine. The weapon is assault D3, so it's 2 D3 shots each. You're going to get between 2 and 6 shots. Right, so yeah, well they could wipe out some if you're prepared to pay out about 220 points for a 3-man unit. Oh boy, I mean if they land they'll die. They'll die. The opponent will blow them away, probably quite easily. You have to use them so wisely, so carefully. Assault D3, strength 7, AP -3, 1 point of damage. So brilliant if you want to ambush. So you got enemy's got a nice juicy Devastator Squad somewhere. You land those down and blow them away. You can sort of redeem your points quite quickly. You can go supercharged to make it strength 8, AP -3, 2 points damage. Any ones the bearer is slain, so it's not even mortal wound, just the bearer is slain. Be so careful of that. Okay, so Meteorite Descent, just your usual ambush. It is an ambush unit. You could do a deadly ambush with them, to be fair, but they are so expensive. Crushing charge, roll a d6 each time a model from this unit finishes a charge move within an inch of the enemy unit. On a 6, mortal wound is taken. You've got combat squads available. Yeah, so the plasma option is quite deadly. So I think now, assault D3, you get about 9, between 2 and 6, yeah, say about 9 shots in total for the unit. 6 of them hit, 4 of them wound, to kill 4 Space Marines. Just thinking out loud here. Yeah, so I think they're super overpriced, very vulnerable. So I don't rate these, I'm afraid to say. Leave your comments if you disagree. Maybe you've used them with great effectiveness, but that's a lot of points for them. They look nice though, but they're very expensive. Okay, so that's Inceptor Squad. Right, so that's fast finished. We'll go on to heavy support now, and the first entry here is the Devastator Squad. So this is regular Space Marine Devastators. So I guess it's just regular Marines stats, and you just pay for your heavy weapons on top. It's a squad of 5s, the minimum. You can have 5 more. Each model's bolt gun, bolt pistol, fragment crack grenades, as usual. The unit may be accompanied by an Armorium Cherub, which is not armed with any weapons. Cherub stat line's just there, just very poor, but it's just that model. Now, let's just see what this thing does. Heavy support. You do have to pay for him, he's 5 points. Devastator Squad, 13 points, just regular cost for a Marine. You just pay for your heavy weapons on top. Just check out your combinations you can go for. The Space Marine Sergeant may replace his bolt gun with Sergeant equipment, so he's got access to all the combi and so on. Up to 4 Marines may replace their bolt guns with an item and heavy weapons. I think it's pretty good. Devastators, if they do need to move now, it's just -1 to hit. So if you go for all las cannons, for example, have a tank hunting team. If you move, then you can still fire. And with Marines, you need to force hit. It's still pretty good. I'd be tempted for things like 4 missile launchers, 4 las cannons, sort of real dedicate the team. Now try and increase the size to about 10, just to have those regular Marines there. to shoot at anything coming nearby, and then also just to absorb the damage to keep those main heavy weapons alive. Now, the Amorium Cherub, once per game, after a model in this unit is fired, the Amorium Cherub can reload the model's weapons. When it does so, remove the Amorium Cherub and the model can immediately shoot again. The removal of the Cherub is ignored for the purposes of morale. Right, it's an extra shot, so it's handy if you've paid out for las cannons. So, Signum. Before this unit shoots in the shooting phase, you can choose one model in the unit that is within 3 inches of its sergeant. You can have one to hit rolls. Cool. So one of them's going to hit on 2+. Not bad. Some little bonuses there. I've taken a Devastator Squad. Not bad. No, Devastator Squad seems fine. Now here's one of my key units for the Imperial Fists. That's Centurion Devastators. Now, I've played some Imperial Fist games and these guys are super expensive, as they were in 7th, but it's expensive now as well in 8th edition. So Centurion Devastators, they're 80 points each. That's without the war gear. That's horrendous. Let's see, you have to, even if they come with Hurricane Bolters, you have to pay for that on top, and the Heavy Bolters, you have to pay for that as well. Just check. Heavy bolter 10, so they're on about 94 points each, so pushing on 300 points, just the standard loadout. Same stat line as the other Centurions, the assault ones. So you may replace the Hurricane Bolter with a Centurion missile launcher. It costs 25 points. So 105 points at the moment, each. Range 36, Assault D3, Strength 38 for -2 and D3 points damage. It's deadly enough, but it's expensive as well. Combat Squad's available if you take 9. If you take 6 of them, you can split them down to 2 squads of 3. Decimator Protocols. Models in this unit do not suffer the penalty to hit rolls for moving and firing heavy weapons. Okay, great, so they've got a nice flexible move. On this scope, enemy units do not receive benefit of their saving throws being in cover. Made by unit includes the Centurion Sergeant. Cool, so that's pretty good rules to remember. I probably would take the Centurion missile launchers, but this is getting expensive. Any model may replace his 2 heavy bolters with either 2 las cannons. So you've got to find a las cannon and double it. Las cannon's 25, double it's 50. Ouch, plus 25, so you're on 140, 150 points each model. That's so ridiculous. Sorry, but that is utterly ridiculous. And they're so vulnerable. You can't protect them. You could try and hide them, but the moment they pop out, the opponent's right, I've got you. They'll just fire everything at them and just, you're paying out a ridiculous amount of points. It's about 450 odd points for 3 models. So I'm sorry, but I think their days are numbered in the Imperial Fist force. I think there's other ways of keeping that amount of las cannon shots. For example, I'll say it because it's on my mind. How about burying a las cannon in the 3 tactical squads that I have, and then maybe taking twin las cannon Razorbacks. May well be an option. If you take 3 twin las cannon Razorbacks, there's your 6 las cannon shots, as with the Centurion Devastators. And we'll find out later, because we haven't covered dedicated transports, but I imagine each one of those is not going to cost. We'll see how much that costs, but I don't think it's going to be 145 odd points each vehicle. And even if it does, it's way more durable than a 2 wound model. You know, your Razorback's going to have like 11 wounds, so much more durable, transport capacity and so on. So I just, nice enough unit, so expensive. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Really is bad for them. So Centurion Devastators, I think I won't be keeping them. So next is Hell Blasters. Yeah, like you take a 2,000 point list, that's a quarter of your army for 3 men. It's just too no good. So Hell Blasters now, this is the new Primaris ones. They do look really nice. I've come up against them once. And again, I think they suffer from the same problem as these. And that is they just get targeted straight away. You know, they're way more dangerous than regular Marines, intercessors, whatever. They get hacked, they get attacked and taken out first. That's the danger of them. That's what you paid your points out for as well. So, a Hellblaster is 18 points a model. That's your regular points cost for your Primaris Marine. Obviously you've got to pay for your costs on top. So you get 5 of them in the unit. You can take 5 more. They're armed with plasma incinerators. £15 points, it's not too bad. It's nowhere near what we're looking at here. Plasma incinerator. It's range 30, rapid fire 1. So a squad of 5 of them. You're going to get 10 shots at 15 inches. It's going to cut the squad down pretty badly. 7 strength 7, AP minus 4. So you're just going to scrub the armor save on most models, and then 1 damage. You can go for supercharge if you really need to. Any rolls of a 1, the bear is slain. But you know, get a captain nearby, Primaris captain, get the reroll ones. Very helpful. All models may replace their plasma incinerators with assault plasma incinerators. Let's have a look. 16 points, a bit cheaper. Range 24, so you lose a bit of range. Assault 2. I like these. Assault 2, strength 6, AP minus 4, fantastic, 1 damage. And the other one's Assault 2, strength 7, AP minus 4, 2 damage if only ones. That's really good. So you can move 6, do your assault move, and still fire. Pretty good. I quite like the look of them. Okay, so that's an option. All models in the unit may replace their plasma incinerator with heavy plasma incinerators. 17 points. It's not bad either. So you're losing the rapid fire ability. You're going to lose a volume of shots, which is a shame. I do like the assault ones. You know, you're keeping your 2 shots even at the furthest range of 24, which is pretty good actually. But here the heavies just gets 1 shot. You're going to be on -1 to hit if you move. But it's range 36. It's like a Primaris Devastators in a way. Strength 8, AP minus 4. Only 1 point damage, which is a shame for plasma. Everything else about them is brilliant. So really are, these are really cut out for taking out single wound elites troops. Taking out things like Chaos Space Marines, that kind of stuff. They're pretty good, so because they only cause 1 damage. Or opposing Terminators to some degree, where the wounds can be absorbed better in them. Monstrous creatures, fire the whole squad, knock wounds down pretty quick. Yeah, pretty good for that as well. But no, they're not bad. Not bad at all. Models look quite nice and may well feature a unit of them. It may be a unit you try and keep alive, put them in some kind of transport and not throw them away or expose them, because they'll become a target priority and get destroyed. Right, so the Hellblaster Sergeant may replace his bolt pistol with a plasma pistol, as seen here. It's fine. Okay, alright, so he's got the pistol and then carrying that at the same time. Nice. You've got combat squads available for them. Okay, so that's the Hellblasters. Possible option, for sure, wouldn't write them off. Not too bad. Okay, so next is the Thunderfire Cannon. Okay, so the Tech Marine Gunner, we've covered all this really. The Thunderfire Cannon stats itself is movement 3, slow, weapon skill 6+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 3, toughness 6, 4 wounds, 1 attack, leadership 8, and a free up save. Tech Marine we've covered already. Check out the weapon. It looks alright. Tech Marine Gunner is armed with 2 servo arms. bolt pistol, plasma cutter and flame. We've covered that already, I believe. So we'll go to the Thunderfire Cannon. It's range 60, so it keeps a brilliant range, it's always had. Heavy 4d3, so you're going to average out about 8 shots. Strength 5, AP -1. Weapon can target units that are not visible to the firing model. Okay, it's not bad. You're going to pick off bits here and there. If the game goes on long enough, you can redeem your points. Now, how much does it cost? Tech Marine Gun is 26, the Thunderfire Cannon is 55. Does not include wargame. So you've got to add all that on top. Yeah, it's pretty expensive. We'll see the special rules. So artillery, a Thunderfire Cannon can only fire its ranged weapon if a friendly Tech Marine gunner is in 3 inches. A single Tech Marine gunner cannot operate multiple Thunderfire Cannons in the same turn. If at any point there are no Tech Marine gunners within 6 of the cannon, immediately shots down is removed from play. Tech Marine gunner is, when he's set up on the battlefield, the gunner is set up in coherency with the gun. From that point onwards, the Tech Marine gunner is treated as a separate unit. Right, he's a character, I believe. Yes, so you have to kill the gun before you can shoot him, if the gun's closer to the opponent. The Blessing of the Omnissiah. At the end of your movement phase, a Tech Marine gunner can repair a single vehicle within 1 inch. That model regains D3 lost wounds. The model can be repaired once per turn. So you park him next to something that's going to remain stationary. So 2 Predator Annihilators, you park him in between, you put his gun out the front, he's protected by his gun, the gun can shoot and then he can repair either side. That's quite a good combination. Cheap enough HQ. Yeah, not bad. Not bad, okay. So next is a Hunter. Now I have one of these for the Imperial Fists. I like him very much. He was okay in 7th edition. I'll check him out now, see how good the Hunter tank is. It's 90 points. The Sky Spear Missile Launcher then costs 0. Oh wow. That is cheap. I like the Hunter here. Cheap. There's nothing else to add to this, is there? Very good. Now, stat lines then. Starts off on a 3+ ballistic skill. Movement of 10. Bad. Okay, then there's damage charts just there. It's just the usual. Strength 6. Toughness 8. So nice toughness on this one. 11 wounds. 3 up save. Leadership 8. So the big question is the Sky Spear Missile Launcher. Range 60, brilliant range. Heavy 1, so you probably want to remain stationary. Strength 9, brilliant, so even a land raider will be on freeze to wound. AP -3 and D6 points of damage. Add 1 to the hit rolls made for this weapon against targets that can fly. So again, brilliant taking out flyers, but also things like skimmers, flying monstrous creatures and so on. You can reroll. You can reroll failed hit rolls for this weapon. So either you're on 3+ to hit rerolls or 2+ to hit rerolls. Very, very reliable weapon. And pretty decent, actually. Now, you can take a Hunter Killer Missile and you can take a Stormbolt. I probably have both of those on as well. So you've got the option to fire that missile from that as well. Smoke launchers it's equipped with, and that's it. That's cheap enough, that Hunter. No, I think I'll take one of them. Or 2, or whatever, for the Imperial Fists. No problem at all. Nice and cheap. Pulls the army out. Park it somewhere and just let it fire every turn. Because the range is fantastic. The weapon's deadly. And very, very accurate indeed. The other options are Stalker. That's like with the Autocannon options. So this is an option as well. It's the same stat line. 2 Icarus Storm Cannons. Let's have a look here. So Stalker is 80, 10 points cheaper. Icarus Storm Cannon. Yeah, Storm Cannons. This one's quite expensive. Icarus Storm Cannon is 17 points a time. So you're looking at about 115 points for this one. So you're paying a bit more. But for this you get 3 shots each. So you get 6 shots of this one. Range 48. Strength 7. AP -1. 2 points of damage. Add 1 to hit rolls against flyers again. Subtract 1 from all other targets. Oh, so it's a bit of a disadvantage with that one. Okay. So Stalker's alright. I like the Hunter though. That's very, very cheap. Pretty good. Okay. And then you can take Hunter Killer Missile, and you can take a Stormbolt, which I probably would add to those as well. I think any Space Marine tank that has the option, I give them Hunter Killer Missile now. So it's a brilliant weapon. Very cheap in points. Okay, next is the Whirlwind. Usual stats for a tank then, Space Marines. The Whirlwind costs 75, another cheap bit of artillery as well. The vehicles are pretty durable. So you do, it's armed with the Vengeance Launcher. Just see how this is pointed up here. So Vengeance is 34, so you get about 110 for that, for the Vengeance option. Or the Castellan is 25 on top, so it's about 100 points. 100 points, 110 points for this unit. The Castellan, the cheaper option, is heavy 2d6, which is good. You're on averaging about 6 shots. Strength 6, AP minus 0, 1 point of damage. And you can target units that are not nearby, or that are not visible to the model. Or the Vengeance, range 72 for these, by the way. 2d3 shots, you're on averaging on about 4 shots. Strength 7, AP minus 1, and 2 points of damage. And again, same rolls. I've come up against the Whirlwind. I wasn't really that impressed with it. No, I think there's better ways to spend your points with those. The best way to use them, maybe if you took 2 of them, 3 of them, and sort of ganged up with your shooting, and so piling in the shots on the same target, reducing them down. I think would be a pretty good way to use them. I probably would go for the Vengeance option. Yeah, okay. Right, next is the Predator. One of the units that's done really well in 8th edition. So Predator Annihilator, I use it for the Blood Angels. Usual stat line. You can go for, it's under a Predator Autocannon. Now this Predator Autocannon is actually unique. It's not a regular autocannon. Now, let's have a look here. It is 49 points though, to add on top of 90. We're actually on about 140 points already. Yep. You can replace it with a twin las cannon. So you go from 49 to 50. Right, so the comparable costs there. And the two, you can either take 2 Sponson heavy bolters, which is going to be 20 points, or 2 las cannons is 25 points times. Add another 50 on top of that. So you're looking at about 190 points. Yep. 190 points for Predator Annihilator. That's a total of 4 las cannon shots coming through. You can then go for Hunter Killer Missile, which I would add that on top, no problem at all. And even the Stormbolter, probably not. If you had a few spare points, by all means add it on. Smoke launchers available. So the Predator Autocannon is 2d3 shots, so you're averaging about 3 or 4 shots a time. Strength 7, AP minus 1, and 3 points of damage. Not bad, that. If you roll well, you've got the ability to really hammer the opponent there. A vehicle to really knock it down. So no, Predator Autocannon is not bad at all. I'm still happy with the las cannon. I mean, you know, you've got strength 9 is fantastic. AP minus 3 is really good, and then D6 points damage. 1d6 isn't that impressive, but all of a sudden, if you have multiple d6s coming through, the Predator Annihilator has the ability to annihilate another vehicle in 1 round of shooting, which is pretty helpful. Just there. Okay, so definitely like the Predator Annihilator, and it's performed for the different armies on the channel. It's in games performed well a lot of the time. Okay, Vindicator. Next is 135. Demolisher Cannon is 0, it's included in the price, so it's quite cheap. Tough vehicle, it is toughness 8, yes, usual stat line. Demolisher Cannon, heavy D3. It's not bad, you know, if you have a stratagem on standby for your shots, heavy D3, yeah, there's a third of a chance of getting 3 shots come through, and then when they go off you then got to try and hit. It's range 24, it's strength 10, AP minus 3 and D6 points damage. When attacking units of 5 more models, change it to D6. Okay, that's helpful. And again, you can take Hunter Killer Missiles, Smoke Launchers. Yeah, Vindicators are okay. Not bad. Model looks cool. You know, pretty intimidating. A tough enough vehicle, a decent enough weapon. Not bad. Okay, next is regular Land Raider. Take one for the Blood Angels, but it may well be nudged out to make way for other things. 239 points. Gets you strength and toughness 8 now. 16 wounds, so loads of wounds. Leadership 9, 2 up save, which does come in very helpful. It's virtually impervious to small arms fire coming through. So you're going to take the Twin Heavy Bolter. It's quite a points sink though. 17 points you've got to add on top. So you're pushing past 250 points. 2 Twin Laser Cannons, you add an extra 100 points on top of that. You got 350 odd points. You may take Hunter Killer. You can take a Storm Bolter, you can take a Multi-Melter on top as well. The great thing about this is this model does not suffer the penalty to hit rolls, moving and firing heavy weapons. That's really, really helpful. And that is about it. So it's expensive. It really is expensive, yeah. You'd almost pay for 2 Predator Annihilators for the points cost of 1 Land Raider there. You're getting a lot more. Yeah, 8 less cannons as opposed to 4. So that's a big. Seems wiser to go this direction. Land Raiders, but Land Raiders are good. There's no doubt about it. They're tough, durable. They take so much damage, can absorb so many wounds, loads of saves they can make. The Land Raiders are pretty cool. You've also got you've got your transport capacity as well. 10 models, infantry models, jump packs and Terminators take up 2 spaces, which is annoying because Centurion takes 3 spots. Cannot transport Primaris. Interesting. Okay, so for example here, I've got my 5-man Terminator squad. Can't put any characters inside the vehicle. I've got the room for a regular Land Raider anyway. Okay, Land Raider Crusader. Transport capacity of 16. That's the one to stick your Terminators in. Bigger squad of them, maybe unit 6, 7, 8 of them. It's possible. Same stat line. What we're interested in here is the Twin Assault Cannon and Hurricane Bolters. Okay, that's that option there. It's a bit tamer on the shooting side of things, but it's pretty good for transporting large units. Frag Assault Launchers D6 each time this model finishes a charge move with an inch of an enemy unit. On a 4+, it's D3 mortal wounds. Okay, there's an incentive to charge in. Yep. Paladin Machine Spirit. It's the usual. That's the Crusader. 244. It's actually a bit more expensive to start off with than a regular Land Raider. Then you've got Land Raider Redeemer. Same stat line. Right, Flamestorm Cannon. It's one either side. D6 shots. I can't see, it's not very reliable. Strength 6, AP minus 2 and 2 points of damage. Auto hits on the target. Cool thing now, or cool, it's not as realistic, but the vehicle can fire at any point its weapons. It's not all about facings and so on anymore. So the flamers are quite versatile that way. You can fire towards any direction as long as you're in range at the point of the vehicle. You don't fire from the weapon anymore. Usual upgrades available. It does come with the Frag Assault Launchers. That's the Redeemer. option just there. I've only ever used, really, I have only ever used the regular Land Raider. I do like the twin las cannon ability, so that's what I usually go for. Okay, maybe in the comments, if in your opinion Land Raiders have got worse, or they're about the same, or they're better, then leave that in the comments section. It'd be interesting to see what people say about Land Raiders now. They're big points cost, but they've always been that way though. It's the same in 7th edition. Okay, so we're actually on dedicated transports now actually. So start with the Rhino. Just the usual stats for a vehicle. Sadly these have gone up a lot in points, unless the Codex has changed. Take a look. A Rhino is 70 points. It used to be 35, so it's doubled. I think it's 35. Yeah, I think they were cheap enough. But they're more durable now, there's no doubt about that. What's cool with these is you can give them a hunter-killer missile, which I would just do straight away. Just they can do something then, they've got a deadly shot that they can make. Opponent usually ignores them to a degree. They've got that hunter-killer missile ability. It says here you may take an additional Stormbolter. So 2 Stormbolters, you're looking at 4 shots then at range 24 and 8 shots range 12. So again, nice bit of fire support from them. So yeah, that's how I'd equip them. I'd take the 2 Stormbolters, hunter-killer missile, no problem at all. In which case you're looking at about just over 80 points. Maybe 80 points exactly. Yeah. Do you get the repair? Roll, roll of 6, you regain a wound. Smoke launchers available for them as well. Now the only thing with Rhinos now, they do protect stuff well, but there's no more firing out the top hatches, which is a shame for Rhinos. Now, Razorback. This is going to be interesting. I've always been a fan of the Razorback. I have them for the Blood Angels, but I'm tempted to buy the upgrades and stick the turrets on top of my Rhinos. Possibly. Same stat lines. The cost of a Razorback is 65, so it's 5 points cheaper, that's a good start. And then all I'll note is the costs for, cool, there's some great options here. You can go for Twin Heavy Bolter, which is 6 shots, strength 5 AP -1, which is fine. And that costs, this could be the age of the Razorback. £17 points, that's cheap. No, not bad at all. It's a pretty good gun platform there. No problem at all with that. The other option is Twin Assault Cannon. 35 and 65, so it's 100 points. But for that you're getting 12 shots. It's fantastic. Strength 6, AP -1. Brilliant for hosing stuff down. So really, really good. And these are transport vehicles. They're not usually a target priority for the opponent. Usually going after your heavy vehicles and stuff. So these can get ignored. The longer they survive and the more shots they can chuck out, the more they redeem themselves. The other option is the Twin Las Cannon. I know that's 50 points. 50 points plus 65. So cheap enough. But the ability there to really cause trouble for any vehicle, any monstrous creature. The 2 shots, strength 9 AP -3, D6 damage. I really think that's an option. I really do. Then you've got your transport capacity of 6, so there's a little combat squad and a character even to stick inside. Brilliant. Smoke launchers available. So not only would I take the loads of combinations are brilliant here. If you want to go on a budget, just take the twin heavy bolter. If you want to do compromise between hosing stuff down, infantry, and then a bit of anti-tank, I would go for twin assault cannon, definitely, and then just add in a hunter-killer missile. And then to cheap way of adding in a little bit more firepower, just take the Stormbolter for a couple of points. Some more shots coming through. And then if you wanted to go for all-out anti-tank, it would attract a bit of attention if you did it, but twin las cannon and hunter-killer on top of that as well. Turn 1, just let loose of everything, fire all the missiles off, and cause damage. really like the Razorbacks, so keep an eye out for them. But for any Space Marine army, I think they're pretty good. You know, because you lose the hatch ability here, so if you want some firepower on top of a vehicle, then just go for the Razorback. You're basically paying a cheaper Rhino, just 5 points cheaper than a regular Rhino, and you're just paying the points cost of the weapon on top of that. So very reasonable indeed for 8th edition standards. Right, then there's the drop pod, which has fallen out of favour with me, I'm afraid to say, because of the massive points cost. Again, it used to be, yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous now. It used to be about 35 points. It's now 93. It's tripled in cost. Then usually when I did a drop pod, I put an elite unit inside. You've already paid out loads of points for this elite unit. You've got to pay out loads of points to transport them as well. You may as well just go for things like the deep strike ability, like Assault Marines, Terminators teleporting in, which doesn't cost you any extra. This drop pod's sort of a complete waste. Just, I can imagine they're not that common now in Space Marine armies. It's got 8 wounds, but it's just a mobile 93 point waste of time. The only way would be to use them for, you know, you used to say them because they're reliable to come down, you know, safe way to deep strike. Well, everything's safe to deep strike now, so they sort of lost their, I don't know why Games Workshop have made them so expensive. It's madness to make them that kind of points cost. I suppose maybe trying to prevent them from being abused and spammed and so on. Maybe the best unit to go inside them would be a Devastator Squad, I would imagine. Something like that. This model, it can't even transport Terminators, Primaris or Centurions, just infantry. I was going to say transport your Primaris Hell Blasters in there, but you can't do that. So no, not keen on the drop pod anymore. It's you've seen it rise to fame, and then now its time has come to an end, I think. For now, unless fascinating, if you use drop pods effectively, and you can manage the points that they cost now, then by all means share that in the comments section. It'll be fascinating to read that. Next is Landspeeder Storm for the Scouts. I suppose it's transport, so we're on. It's a 7 wound. Landspeeder's pretty good. 4 up save though for a Scout, open tops equivalent. 18-inch move, very quick. The Cerberus Launcher is heavy D6, strength 4, but there's no AP minus, it's 1 point damage. And it's heavy bolter, it's open tops. You measure range from point on the vehicle for the units firing inside. Unless this is cheap, it's going to be a waste, I think. Landspeeder Storm is 70 points. Okay. It's not that great. Not really. Okay. So that's that. Ah yes, the all new Repulsor. This is this hovering Land Raider here. New model. I think it looks okay. It looks alright. Obviously suits the Primaris Marines. If I want to have some vehicles on the table, which I don't up pure infantry army, I do want to have some vehicles, then I'll end up taking this one. It says here, transport capacity of 10. Each Mark 10 Gravis model takes up the space of 2 other models. Cannot transport jump pack models. Okay, that's the Gravis armor. Okay. Yeah, it transports Primaris infantry. Okay, so we're looking at 210 points without wargame. Strength after this 8 though. 16 wounds, so it's Land Raider, leadership 9 and 3 up save. Oh, it comes with the heavy onslaught Gatling cannon, which you've seen. So you need to add 36 points now on top of the 210, so you're looking at 250 points already. I mean, it must end up the same as a regular Land Raider here. Twin heavy bolter, which is about 17. Yep, 17. Just pushing on for 280. An Iron Hail heavy stubber. 6 points, cheap. So still about 180. Icarus, Iron Howl, Heavy Stubber. Interesting. 6. Okay. 2 Crack Storm Grenade Launchers. 4 points. So cheap, small stuff on here. It's a real gun platform with a lot of mini weapons. 2 Storm Bolters and 2 Auto Launchers. Interesting. Auto Launchers. Not on there. Okay. So, Frag Storm Grenade Launcher, we've seen that already. That's on the Dreadnought. The Heavy Onslaught Cannon, we've seen that. The Icarus, Iron Howl, Heavy Stubber. Heavy Freeze, Strength 4, AP -1. Range 36. Add 1 to hit rolls to this weapon against targets that can fly. Not bad, good little weapon there. Nice range on that. Icarus Rocket Pod, which will be covered a bit later, it's D3. Strength 7, AP -1. We've seen that already as well. Iron Howl, Heavy Stubber. Heavy Freeze, Strength 4, AP -1, range 36. The Crack Storm Grenade Launcher is Assault 1, Strength 6, AP -1, D3 damage. You get 2 of those, there's 2 shots there. Range 18. The Las Talon, we'll mention it now, it's range 24. It's a short range Las Cannon, but it's heavy 2. Strength 9, AP -3, and D6 damage. That's pretty nasty. The Onslaught Gatling Cannon, and then that's the usuals there. Okay, so this model replaces its twin heavy bolter with twin Las Cannon. I reckon I would. This model may replace its heavy onslaught Gatling cannon with a Las Talon. Oh, not sure about that. Difficult choice. This model may replace its Iron Howl Heavy Stubber with an onslaught Gatling cannon. Well, probably would go for that. This model may replace its 2 Storm Bolters with 2 Frag Storm Grenade Launchers. Okay. This model may replace its Icarus Iron Howl Heavy Stubber with an Icarus Rocket Pod, Storm Bolter or Frag Storm Grenade Launcher. This model will replace its Auto Launchers with 2 Frag Storm Grenade Launchers. And then you may take an additional Iron Howl Heavy Stubber. It's a hover tank. Distances and ranges are always measured to and from the model's hull, even though it has a base. Repulsor field, you must subtract 2 from any charge rolls made for units that declare a charge against a repulsor. Now it does have fly, yes. So you can pull out a combat and shoot, which is very versatile. Power machine spirit, no penalty for movement, brilliant. Auto launchers, instead of shooting any weapons in the shooting phase, this model can use its auto launchers. Until your next shooting phase, your opponent must subtract 1. Right, so that's your smoke launchers. That's it, okay. No, not bad. Its points is expensive, it's full of weaponry, it's armed to the teeth. And then you've got your transport ability as well, so repulsor sounds fine. So that's heavy's finished actually. No, that's transport's finished. So there is actually flyers to cover now, which do feature quite heavily in my Imperial Fist army. I have played a few games of Imperial Fist. I have to say the flyers have been excellent. So I hope to continue to use them. The Stormhawk Interceptor then, which I've painted up one now for the Imperial Fists, it's finished. He's 85 points. Stormhawk Interceptor, 85 points. Now they then have to add 2 assault cannons. 21, so you're on 120 odd points. You got add your heavy bolters, 140 odd points, and the Icarus Storm Cannon, which is about 160 odd points in total, which isn't too bad for 8th edition. 160 odd points. It's a lot of firepower. It's 2 assault cannons then. It's the same as a twin really. You get the 2 lots of 6. That's 12 shots. It's brilliant. 2 heavy bolters. Another 6 shots in total to add on top, and the Icarus Storm Cannon. 3 shots, strength 7, AP -1, 2 points damage. You get add +1 to units that can fly, -1 against other targets. So pretty good at hosing down infantry. This model will replace its 2 heavy bolters with Skyhammer missile launchers or a Typhoon missile launcher. Typhoon's expensive, it's 50 points. Skyhammer is 24, but for that you get 3 shots, brilliant range, range 60, strength 7, AP -1, D3 points of damage. You get +1 against units that can fly. Yeah, I probably would go for that. You try and use the flyers to be able to take out vehicles and other flyers and so on. So probably would go for that upgrade. Then this model replaces Icarus Storm Cannon with a Las Talon. I probably would go for that as well. The range is short here, it's 24, short-ish, but you're a flyer, going to be able to fly right up to stuff anyway, so that's no problem at all. That gives you a nice bit of anti-tank punch available for that. Okay. It's airborne, so it can only be charged by units that can fly. It can only attack or be attacked in the fight phase by units that can fly. Interceptor, you can add 1 to the hit rolls of this model when targeting an enemy in the shooting phase that can fly. So very, very good there, specialising for that. Supersonic, each time it moves you first pivot it on the spot 90 degrees and then you move the model straight forwards. It cannot pivot again after initial pivot. When this model advances, increase its move characteristic by 20 until the end of the phase. Do not roll the dice. The movement is between 20 and 60 inches, so super quick. It's hard to hit. Your opponent does take -1 to target this flyer, and then you can re-roll saving throws of 1 for this model. So a bit of durability there. It's 10 wounds, toughness 7. Not bad at all. No, Stormhawk Interceptor is okay. Not bad, so I reckon I'll still feature one of them. Or more, we'll see. Next is the Storm Raven. Big fan of these. You take 2 of them for the Blood Angels. We'll see how good they are in 8th edition now. So, Storm Raven starts out at 172 points. 14 wounds though. Strength 8, toughness 7. 14 wounds, that's pretty good. The Twin Assault Cannon then, that's 21 points. So you're pushing on for 200 here. Twin Heavy Bolter, so 210 odd, and then there's 2 Storm Strike Missile Launchers. Let's see how much they cost. 21 points each. Right, so you're pushing on 250 odd points now for this one. Which is not, it's nowhere near as much as a Land Raider. So the missile launchers is heavy 1, but you get 2 shots because it's got 2 launchers, so it's 2 shots, heavy 1. Strength 8, AP -3, and a straight 3 points of damage. So it's a nasty enough weapon, that one. And they're not one use only anymore, you just keep getting that shot every turn, which is really good. So then, the model want to replace its Twin Assault Cannon with Twin Las Cannon, that's 50 points, or Twin Heavy Plasma Cannon, which I usually go for. I have played a fair few games now with Storm Raven. The combination I go for is the Twin Multi-Melter, Twin Las Cannon, and the rockets, and it just hunts vehicles down. It is brilliant. It really is good, and it can take a lot of damage. So that's the combination that seems to work really well. It works in 7th, and it seems to work just fine in 8th edition as well. This model replaces Twin Heavy Bolter with Twin Multi-Melter. That's what I go for. Twin Multi-Melter within 12 inches is just utterly deadly. You can get those shots, keep a stratagem on standby ready to help out to try and get those hits come through. It is hard to hit. Supersonic rules, airborne rules, hover jet. Before this model moves in your movement phase, you can declare it will hover. Its movement characteristic becomes 20 until the end of the phase, and it loses airborne, hard to hit, and supersonic to the beginning of your next turn. But if you really want to stay still and just let rip, you're in a position where you don't want to move off, then that option's available. Crash and Burn, and then Power Machine Spirit. No penalty to hit rolls. It makes it, if you're firing heavy weapons, it makes it a very reliable gun platform. So I usually give it the best weapons I can get a hold of, take advantage of that, and just fly up and soften the opponent up. And obviously you've got your transport capacity of 12, which is excellent. It's really good for me. Taking the 5 Thunderhammer Terminators, it leaves a couple of slots there for HQs to join them for the Blood Angels. Yep. And of course it can carry 1 Dreadnought. Yes, it still can. It can carry a Dreadnought as well, which is great. Really good. Okay, so next one's the Storm Talon. 110 points it starts off at. Then you've got twin assault cannon, so it makes 130 odd, and then heavy bolters, so 150 odd points for this one. That's a lot of shots can come from that. 12 shots for the twin assault cannon, a total of 6 shots as well from the heavy bolters. Yeah, not bad. But then you can go for 2 heavy bolters you can replace the 2 heavy bolters with laser cannons. A Skyhammer missile launcher or a Typhoon missile launcher, so I usually take the Skyhammer. I'm quite happy with that configuration. It's got a bit of tank busting ability there as well. It can contribute to that and then hose down other targets. The ability to split fire now is fantastic. So I like the Storm Tannon. It just flies around and just hoses things down, and then just lends fire support as well with the rockets. No problem at all. It's airborne, supersonic, hard to hit. Strafing run. You can have 1 to hit rolls for this model when targeting an enemy in the shooting phase that cannot fly. It's great against ground targets. 12 shots coming in, 2s to hit. Brilliant. Hoverjet available as well. It's like nice, tactical, versatile, flexible unit. It looks fantastic. It's one of my favourite flying models in 40k. So big fan of the Storm Tannon. You used to take 2 of them in 7th edition. May try and continue that. Just their ability to lend fire support. The Imperial Fists, real sort of heavy firepower, just grinding the opponent down with tons of shots, both heavy weapons and this kind of anti-infantry stuff as well. And I want to continue that trend on into 8th edition. But Storm Tannon, beautiful model, and the rules are pretty good and not too bad. If you weighed it up and took a Landspeeder kitted out, or one of those, hands down, this one is way better. Alright, so actually that is it. There's one left to cover, and that is Reboot Goodman himself. Never reviewed him before. No, I did actually. I did review him in the campaign books that came out. I've never played against him, never killed him. Looking forward to the opportunity one day of bringing him down. So he's 18 power points, and he's around here somewhere. He's 360 points including all your war gear, so he's expensive enough. I'm sure he's pretty good. Movement 8, weapon skill, ballistic skill 2+, strength and toughness 6, 9 wounds, 6 attacks, horrendous, leadership 10, 2 up save. Reboot Goodman is a single model armed with the Emperor's Sword, the Hand of Dominion. Only one of this model can be included in your army. So the Hand of Dominion shooting, range 24, rapid fire 3. So 3 shots at 24, if you get within 12 it's 6 shots. Remember he'll be at 2s to hit. Strength 6, AP -1, 2 points damage. So deadly enough. I think it's combat though is what he's cut out for. The Emperor's Sword. It's a melee weapon. +2 strength, so he becomes strength 8. Remember he's on 6 attacks, then 2s to hit. AP -4, 3 points of damage. If you roll a 6 to wound, inflicts D3 mortal wounds in addition to normal damage. Yeah, so he is tough. But he's not no, I'd love to shoot him up with some tank busters. I really would. James better watch out. Hand of Dominion in melee is ×2 strength, is on strength 12. AP -3 and 3 points damage. There's no restriction, no minus there, so he is really good. Armour of Fate. He has a 3+ invuln. Ouch. In addition, the first time he is reduced to 0 wounds, roll a d6, and a 4+. Set him up again at the end of the phase as close as possible to the previous position, more than 1 inch from any enemies, with d6 wounds remaining. You'd save your stratagem for that, that's for sure. Author of the Codex. If your army is battle forged, you receive an additional 3 command points. Wow. Yeah, really good. And then Master of Battle. You can... Now, can he be targeted? I think so. 9 wounds. Yeah. I think so. You can have 1 to... Master of Battle. You can have 1 to advanced charge rolls for friendly Imperium units within 12 for him. Reroll hit rolls of 1. And Falcon morale tests for these units. And the 13th for Primarch. You can reroll any failed hit and wound rolls for friendly Ultramarines units within 6 of him. So you can see why James is painting him up at the moment. So we do plan to feature him in a battle report there in all of his glory. James currently painting him up at the moment. So that is Skillerman covered. That is all of the entries there. There's pages and pages of them. We've made our way through. We've gone through the armory here. Covered a lot of these weapons, pages of them. It's a vast codex. There they are. Ultramarines coming in. Thunderhawk gunship. There's a repulsor tank. It's about the size of a Land Raider. Just there. It's quite nice. Sons of the Primarch. Okay, so some special rules and so on to cover now. Yeah, okay, so just looking at these Sons of the Primarchs. In the rules described in this section, we often refer to Space Marines units. This is shorthand for any Adapters or Starters unit that has one of the following factions: Ultramarines, Imperial Fists, Salamanders, White Scars, Raven Guard, Iron Hands, Crimson Fists or Black Templars. A Space Marines detachment is therefore one which only includes units with one of these keywords. Oh, note that other Space Marine chapters such as Blood Angels, Space Wolves deviate significantly in terms of organisation. These chapters therefore cannot make use of any of the rules or abilities listed in this section. Okay, so what about unit chapters like, I suppose that all covers ones like Blackguards, Rift Stalkers and so on, and others that are generally standard sort of Space Marines, and imagine that's still fine. Just there, maybe clarify that. I'd imagine that's the way it works. But chapters that are significantly different, ones like Blood Angels and Space Wolves, don't benefit from those. So, Defenders of Humanity. If your army is battle forged, all troops, units and Space Marines detachments gain this ability. Such a unit is within range of an objective marker, as specified in the mission, controls the objective even if there are more enemy models within range of that objective marker. That's a very helpful rule. So it's like the old objective secured. If an enemy unit within range of the same objective marker has a similar ability, then the objective marker is controlled by the player who has the most models within range of it as normal. So a helpful rule, that, and one that you must remember during a game, so that could be the difference between defeat and victory. Chapter Tactics. If your army is battle forged, all infantry and biker and dreadnought units and the Space Marines detachment gain a chapter tactic, so long as every unit in the detachment is drawn from the same chapter. The chapter tactic gain depends on the chapter they're drawn from, as shown in the table opposite. For example, Ultramarines unit with the chapter tactics ability gains the Codex Discipline tactic. Okay. So, all infantry, biker and dreadnought units. Okay, so that's going to be 3/4 of your army, 2/3 of your army. If your chapter does not have an associated chapter tactic, use the chapter tactic of its founding chapter. For example, Crimson Fists are successors of the Imperial Fists. Okay. Note that due to their lobotomized nature, servitor units are an exception and never gain a chapter tactic. It's so funny. Oh dear, servitors, what a life. Okay, so chapter tactics. This is interesting. So Ultramarines. Add 1 to the leadership characteristic of all Ultramarine models with this tactic. Wonderful. In addition, Ultramarines units with this tactic can still shoot in a turn in which they fell back, but if they do so, it's -1 to the hit rolls. That's helpful enough. Okay, pretty good. Next is White Scars, Lightning Assault. Whenever a White Scars unit with this chapter tactic advances, it moves an extra 2 inches in addition to the distance rolled. Bike units with turbo stability therefore move an additional 8. In addition, White Scars units in this tactic can still charge in the turn in which they fell back. That's really good. Okay, so that's a really good theme for them. Imperial Fists. Enemy units do not receive the benefit of saving throws for being in cover. Attacks against attacks made by Imperial Fist models. In addition, you can reroll failed wound rolls for Imperial Fist units with this tactic when they're targeting a building. Oh dear. Oh, that's not that significant for them, which is a shame. No cover bonuses, but that's probably the worst ones so far. Black Templars, Righteous Zeal. You can reroll failed charge rolls for Black Templars. This tactic, that's really helpful. Salamanders, you can reroll a single failed hit roll and a single failed wound roll made for a Salamander's unit with this tactic each time it shoots or fights. Okay, so a bit tedious, but that's helpful enough. The best ones are White Scars so far, I reckon. Raven Guard, your opponent must subtract 1 from any hit rolls when shooting Raven Guard units with this tactic if they're more than 12 inches away. That's pretty good actually. That's helpful enough. You must remember these because some of these are very helpful. Iron Hands, the flesh is weak. Roll dice each time an Iron Hands model with this tactic loses a wound. On a 6, it's ignored. Okay, makes them that much more tougher. Brilliant. Okay, so they're not insignificant here. They're not silly little rules that just don't mean anything. There's a fair bit of, there's some good bonuses there. Then, I like the Ultramarine one's quite cool. White Scars is really good. And Black Templars, easy to remember, very handy for them. And then Iron Hands is a really good one as well. Right, stratagems. Used to have a couple of them. Now look at it here for Space Marines. Tons of stratagems here. Loads of them at one command point. So, you know, knowing these, or just choosing out your favourites and getting really familiar with them, and then getting ready to use them in a game, could be really game changing. Oh, I'm going to go through these. Fascinating to see because these are going to apply for Imperial Fists. So we'll try and pick out some good ones. So say your army's battle forged, you've got 6 command points available. This is how you can use them. So, yeah, relics of they're talking about here, the successor chapters. You know, if you've got Crimson Fists, then use it for Imperial Fists. Yeah, okay. Now, right, okay. This is why there's loads. Some of these stratagems are regular Space Marine stratagems. Some of them are specific for their chapter. For example, White Scar stratagem, Imperial Fists. Right, very, very interesting. Okay, so the first one, the relics of the chapter, it's Space Marines. So you can keep this on a standby for any of your chapters here. It's 1 or 3 command points. Use this stratagem before the battle. Your army can have 1 extra chapter relic for 1 command point, or 2 chapter relics for 3 command points. All of the chapter relics that you include must be different and be given to different Space Marine characters. Right, so you can purchase relics. I was wondering how the whole relic thing worked here, which is just there. Cool. Okay, so you get free stuff. Linebreaker Bombardment is 1 command point. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase. This is regular Space Marines. If a Vindicator is within 6 inches of 2 other Vindicators, this is the old formation here. If you do so, the Vindicators cannot fire the Demolisher cannons this phase. Instead, select a visible point on the battlefield within 24 of these 3 vehicles. Roll a dice for each unit, friend or foe, within 3 inches of that point. Add 1 to the result if the unit being rolled for has 10 or more models. Subtract 1 if it's a character on a 4 or more, it suffers 3d3 mortal wounds. Right, so it's a deadly bombardment there. It's pretty. It is pretty nasty. Yeah, not bad. Alright, so that's that option available just there. I think a lot of people will be happy to see that back. Kill shot. Space, this is looking a good idea actually. This is nice. You can imagine this for different factions within 40k. This is pretty good. Space Marines stratagem. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase if a predator is within 6 inches of 2 others. This is the formations. If you do so, add 1 to the wound rolls and damage rolls for targets of monsters and vehicles this phase. A bit of a kill shot there. So the stratagem's used up. It's not like use it up and it's gone. I think is the way it works. That is for Space Marines. Next one is another Space Marines one. It's Chapter Master. Use this stratagem before the battle. Select an adeptus Astartes captain in your army. Place this model's captain keyword with Chapter Master and replace his rights of battle ability with the following ability. Chapter Master. You can reroll any failed hit rolls for friendly chapter units within 6. You can only use the stratagem once. Your army cannot include 2 Chapter Masters from the same chapter. Okay, so that's 3 command points there. That's all right. It's expensive though. Sons of Guilliman, or Scions of Guilliman here. This is for Ultramarines. It's 1 command point. By the way, it's 1 command point for all those other ones as well, and it varies for relics of the chapter. So, 1 command point. Use this stratagem when an Ultramarines infantry unit or biker unit is selected to attack in a shooting or fight phase. You can reroll all hit rolls of 1 for that unit for the rest of the phase. If the unit is a tactical squad or intercessor squad, you can reroll failed hit rolls instead. Okay, so a bit helpful. It's all right. just there. So, okay, so that's okay. Next one, Orbital Bombardment. It's 3 command points. It's for any Space Marines. This stratagem can be used once per battle in the shooting phase if you have an Adeptus Astartes Warlord that did not move during the movement phase. Instead of shooting, this looks pretty good. Instead of shooting a Warlord's weapons, select a visible point on the battlefield and roll d6. Every unit within d6 of that point. Subtract 1 from the result if the unit being rolled for is a character. On a 4+, the unit being rolled for suffers d3 mortal wounds. Okay, so this okay. It's alright. Not bad. Okay. Next one. Space Marines can use this one. It's cluster mines. It's 1 command point. Use the stratagem when a scout bike squad falls back. Select one enemy unit within an inch of the unit before it moves and roll d6 on 2+. It suffers d3 mortal wounds. Cool. That's pretty good. d3 mortal wounds. It's okay. Okay. Next, Born in the Saddle. This is for White Scars. It's 1 command point. Use the stratagem when a White Scars bike unit advances. You can still shoot and charge this turn. Okay, that's helpful. You want to stretch, try and reach something, play that. Now you can purchase multiple ones of these, so you can burn through multiple command points to use that. I think that's the way you can do it. So that one's quite good. Like Masterful Marksmanship, it's a regular Space Marines stratagem. It's 1 command point. Use the stratagem when a Stern Guard veteran squad is selected to an attack in the shooting phase. You can add 1 to all wound rolls made for that unit's special issue bolt gun attacks that phase. That's great. Yeah, no problem at all with that. Real nice little bonus there for them. Great. No, really good. Okay, big unit of them, and then use that. That's a free bonus. Nice. Next is Abhor the Witch. This is Black Templars. Use 1 command point. Use the stratagem when an enemy psychic manifests a psychic power in 24 of a friendly Black Templars unit. Roll a d6 on a 4+. The psychic power is resisted by the sheer willpower of your unit. Its effects are negated. Nice. And I don't think you have to purchase these at the beginning of the battle or anything. It's not like you've purchased this and stuck with it, you never use it, throw it away. It's there, you can just grab it if you need it. Empirical Channeling. This is for Space Marines, 1 command point. Use the stratagem at the start of a psychic phase if an Adeptus Astartes Psycho is in 6 of at least 2 other friendly chapter psychers. The psychic can immediately attempt to manifest 1 additional psychic power this turn. When attempting to manifest this power, you add 2 to the psychic test. Cool. No problem with that one at all. Data link telemetry. This is again for Space Marines, 1 command point. Use the stratagem in the shooting phase just before a whirlwind shoots. If the target of the whirlwind's shooting attacks are visible to a friendly chapter Landspeeder unit, that's the old formations back again. Within 12, the target unit the whirlwind's attacks automatically hit. Okay, that's pretty helpful, just for 1 command point. So you've seen a shadow of the old formations here in some of these, which I think there's no problem doing it. It's pretty good. Hellfire Shells. So if this is happening for Space Marines, you may start to see a shadow of some of these formations coming back for the other factions as well. Okay, Hellfire Shells. Use the stratagem, it's 1 command points for Space Marines. Use the stratagem just before an Adeptus Astartes infantry model attacks with a heavy bolter. You only make a single hit roll with this weapon this phase. However, if it hits, the target suffers d3 mortal wounds. Yeah, not bad. You want another stratagem on standby to reroll your hit, if you're allowed to do that. Okay. There's some quite quirky ones in here. Next one is Bolter Drill. It's 1 command point. This is for Imperial Fists. Use the stratagem just before an Imperial Fist infantry unit attacks in the shooting phase. Each time you make a roll of a 6, if for a model firing a bolt weapon, the model can immediately make another hit roll using the same weapon at the same target. These bonus attacks cannot themselves generate further attacks. For the purposes of this stratagem, a bolt weapon is any weapon profile which the name includes bolt, e.g. bolt gun, bolt rifle, bolt pistol, bolt storm gauntlet. Pedro Cantor's Dawn's arrow is also a bolt weapon. Okay, that's alright. Not bad, just 1 command point. Machine Empathy. To be honest, I just like the rerolls. It's easy to remember and you need them so often in a game. So these have to be pretty good to replace that. I like the purchasing chapter relics. We'll take a look at those, see if any of them are any good. That's cool. That's the first one. The others can live without a lot of these. Machine Empathy. This is for Iron Hands. It's 1 command point. Use this stratagem just before an Iron Hands vehicle attacks in the shooting phase. To the end of the phase, that vehicle can ignore the penalties for moving and firing a heavy weapon, or for advancing and firing an assault weapon. Okay, that's alright. Flamecraft for Salamanders, 1 command point. Use this stratagem just before a Salamander's unit attacks in the shooting phase. Add 1 to wound rolls made for the unit's flame weapons. For the purposes of this stratagem, a flame weapon is any weapon profile which the name includes the word flame. Vulcan Hestan's Gauntlet of the Forge is also a flame weapon. Not bad. You have to use up your command points to get these though, which is a bit annoying. Strike from the Shadows is Raven Guard. 1 command point. Use this stratagem when you set up a Raven Guard infantry unit during deployment. You can set up the unit in the shadows instead of placing it on the battlefield at the beginning of the first battle round, but before the first turn begins, the unit emerges from their hiding place. Set them up more than 9 inches away from enemy models. There's another page of them here. The Auspex Scan. It's for regular Space Marines. It's 2 command points. So expensive. Wonder what it does. Use this stratagem immediately after your opponent sets up a unit that is arriving on the battlefield as reinforcements within 12 of your Adeptus Astartes infantry units. You can immediately shoot at that unit as if it were a shooting phase, but you must subtract 1 for all the shooting hit results. That's brilliant. That is really good. It's a super intercept there, and you can shoot at it. I take it means everything can shoot at it. That's horrible. No, sorry, your unit can immediately shoot at the target. Still nasty enough. Your opponent pulls out a nasty ambush, battle suits turn up, and all of a sudden you can play the card and then strike them first. That's tactically good. Next one, Tactical Flexibility. This is for Space Marines. It's 1 command point. Use this stratagem at the start of your movement phases. Select a friendly Adeptus Astartes unit with the Combat Squad's ability that has 10 models. The unit is immediately split into 2 separate units, each containing 5 models. Great. Okay, can't see much point in that one. Flak Missile. 1 point. For Space Marines, you can use this stratagem just before a friendly Adeptus Astartes infantry model attacks a unit that can fly. With a missile launcher, you only make a single hit roll. However, add 1 to the hit roll, and if it hits, the target suffers D3 mortal wounds. Okay, that's 1 command point. Next one, Armour of Contempt. Space Marines, 1 command point. Use this stratagem when an Adeptus Astartes vehicle suffers a mortal wound. Roll a d6 for the mortal wound, and each other mortal wound inflicted on this model for the rest of the phase. 5+, the mortal wound is ignored. Okay, so some protection there. 2 command points now. Only in death does duty end. So regular Space Marines. Use this stratagem when Adeptus Astartes character is slain. That model summons the strength for 1 final attack and can immediately either shoot as if it were the shooting phase or fight as if it were the fight phase. The stratagem is not cumulative. That's great fun, that one. It's great fun. It's 2 command points to do that, but it's only an attack, you don't get back up again. 3 command points. This is expensive. Honour of the Chapter, so Space Marines. Use this stratagem at the end of your fight phase. Select an Adeptus Astartes infantry or a biker unit. You immediately fight for a second time. That's really good. It could come in really handy at a critical point in the middle of the battle. It's expensive to do it, but it could well help out to a great degree. Next one, Wisdom of the Ancients, is 1 command point. For Space Marines. Use this stratagem at the start of any phase. Select a friendly Adeptus Astartes Dreadnought. To the end of the phase, you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for chapter units within 6 of that Dreadnought. Okay. So, yeah, helpful enough. Next one is Death to the Traitors. Use this stratagem when Adeptus Astartes unit is chosen to attack in the fight phase. All of these rules could really slow the game down. You know, hang on a second, just want to see if I can use a stratagem. You start reading through all of these, your opponent has to wait. That's a danger that I can see. be easier if you really know your stuff and you've selected a couple you like and you just stick to them and they're in your mind, you just call them out straight away. But you could slow it down if the person's just flicking through here and reading all of them saying, oh, I'm going to choose, yeah, it could really slow things down. Death to the Traitors is 1 command point, Space Marine stratagem. Use a stratagem when Adeptus starter's unit is chosen to fight in the fight phase. Each time you roll a 6 to hit. It can, if it was targeting a heretic or starter's unit, immediately make an extra attack against the same unit with the same weapon. Okay. Tremor Shells is the last one. 1 command point for Space Marines. Use a stratagem when a Thunderfire cannon is selected to attack in the shooting phase. Subtract 1 from all wound rolls made when firing the Thunderfire cannon this phase. But if the target is hit, during its next phase, next turn, half its movement characteristic and the result of any advance and charge rolls. Right, you can really slow something down. Tremor Shells have no effect on the Titanic units and units that can fly. Okay, so to be honest, in my opinion, they could have just done an extra 3 stratagems. So they put out the regular ones in the book, 3 others specifically for Space Marines, and then maybe 1 specific one for each of the main chapters, Imperial Fists and so on. Didn't need all. I don't think they needed all of these. It just starts to complicate things. I thought Games Workshop go in the direction of simplification. Now you've got 3 pages of these to work your way through during a game. So, you know, a lot of these are ones that could have been included in your war gear. So I think the original 3 from the book, 3 new ones for Space Marines that you could just memorise all of them, no problem. And then 1 special one for each of the chapters would work much better. They've got a load of sort of insignificant ones here. If you disagree, leave your feedback, but I think a simplified option would have been better, and I think just as much fun. Because we have great fun using the stratagems as they come in the book, and then just added like 3 new ones just would work great. So you have 6 to choose from, possibly 7. If you take your special one just there. So that's them covered. They're alright. I still like the reroll. I think it's the strongest one. Or getting to fight first, interrupting combat, that one's a good one. There's a couple others in there, aren't too bad. So the one where you get to fight again is pretty cool. It's quite heavy though in points cost. We'll take a look at Warlord traits now. There is 6 of them. And special ones here. And we've also got the relics and so on, and psychic powers to cover it as well. Alright, so Warlord traits here, and it's great now that they've expanded them out to 6. We'll take a look at them and see if they're any good. So if your Warlord of your army is an Adeptus Astartes character, you can pick your Warlord trait from the Space Marines table below, or roll dice. So you can choose it, which is... I mean, why would you randomise it? Well, maybe you can both agree in a game just to randomise it to make things different, but I'll probably end up just choosing one. So, first one, Angel of Death. Subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic of enemy units within 6 of your Warlord. It's not very significant, easy to forget in the middle of a game. People roll dice quite quickly and so on. So, not really. The Imperium Sword. Reroll failed charge rolls for your Warlord. In addition, if your Warlord charges in the charge phase, add 1 to his attacks characteristic. That's pretty good. That's not bad at all. Iron Resolve. Add 1 to the wounds characteristic of your Warlord. Brilliant. In addition, roll a dice each time he loses a wound on a 6. You ignore the damage. That's fantastic. Iron Resolve is brilliant. It's really, really good. Storm of Fire, number 4. Each time you roll a wound, roll a 6 or more for a friendly unit within 6 of the Warlord in the shooting phase. The armor penetration characteristic of that attack is increased by 1. For example, AP 0 becomes AP minus 1. Okay, but you have to roll a 6, so it's quite hard. It's not going to happen too often. Best one's Iron Resolve. Rights of War. Friendly chapter units within 6 of your Warlord automatically pass morale tests. That's not bad, but for Space Marines usually morale is going to be pretty good. And then Champion of Humanity. You can add 1 to all hit and wound rolls made for this Warlord in the fight phase when targeting enemy characters. Okay, not bad. No, without doubt, the best of those is Iron Resolve. If you're looking for to toughen your character up, make him a bit more durable, which you may well need for Space Marines. Your captain or whatever may get stuck in combat and so on. That's the one that I would take just there. So we've got chapter warlord traits here. Name characters of warlord traits. The highest heroes, the adapters are started as examples of their chapters' methods of waging war. If a named character is your warlord, they must be given the associated warlord trait of their chapter. For example, Minus Calgar of the Ultramarines, he takes the Ultramarines one. Okay, interesting. They must be given. Right, so you have to take these if you're taking named characters. So there's advantage there of customising your own HQ. But anyway, for Ultramarines, if it's a named character like Calgar, whilst your warlord is alive, roll a dice each time you spend a command point to use a stratagem on a 5+, that command point is immediately refunded. So things like Cato Sicarius, for example, another named character, then he has to take that warlord trait. That's pretty tactical, that one. It's a really good one for the Ultramarines. You're getting your command points back. Deadly Hunter is next for the White Scars. Roll a dice each time your warlord finishes a charge move within an inch of an enemy unit on a 4+, take a mortal wound. Well, not bad, not that devastating damage. Then Architect of War. This is for Imperial Fists. For any Imperial Fists within 6 of your warlord are receiving the benefit of cover, add an additional 1 to their saving throws with an attack's characteristic of AP -1. Okay, so a little bit of a bonus for that one. Sort of that kind of digging in defensive mentality there with the Imperial Fists. Interesting. But again, this is for named characters. Tenacious Opponent for Crimson Fists. If there are at least 10 models within 6 of your warlord when he fights in the fight phase, add D3 to his attacks until the end of the phase. Okay, so some nice extra attacks. Oathkeeper for Black Templars. Your warlord can perform a heroic intervention if the enemy are within 6 rather than 3 inches, and can move up to 6 when doing so. Okay, so that's quite cool. Anvil of Strength. Add 1 to the strength characteristic of your warlord. That's for Salamanders. Raven Guard. Enemy units cannot fire Overwatch at your warlord. It's not bad. It's quite handy to send him in first then. If you've got other units nearby to charge in, just send him in to make contact and then block the Overwatch against other units. Iron Hands. Each time you roll a dice, each time you roll a hit of a 6 for your warlord, make an extra attack at the same target using the same weapon. These bonus attacks can't generate more. That's not bad. Merciless Logic, that one's called. That's your warlord traits. Right, chapter relics. These are purchased with command points. There's a fair few of them here. Some are for the chapters in general. Others seem specific here for particular chapters. Yeah, and then we've got the psychic powers to come as well. So there's a fair bit of some nice additions they've made to these codexes. Really, I'm looking forward to seeing how each of the codexes receive their own unique stuff, the different factions. So Armor Indomitus here. Okay, let's just have a look here. Let's just read this first of all. If your army is led by a Space Marines warlord, you may give one of the following chapter relics to a Space Marine character in your army. Named characters such as Calgar already have one or more artifacts and cannot be given any of the following relics. Right, again, so if you're customising one of your HQs. Note that some weapons replace one of the character's existing weapons. Where this is the case, you must, if you are playing a match play game or otherwise using points values, still pay the cost of the weapon that is being replaced. Right. Write down any chapter relics your chapters may have in your army roster. Okay. One thing you could do is go for a super cheap weapon, pay the points for it, and then, you know, say you had a Power Fist, you're paying a fair amount of points for it, you could then drop it down to something very cheap and then just replace that with one of these relics, something like that. You could play it that way. Right, so Armor Indomitus. The wearer of the Armor Indomitus has a save characteristic of 2+. In addition, once per battle, before making one of the wearer's saving throws, you can choose to activate the armor's force field. When you do so, the Armor Indomitus confers a 3+ invuln save for the remainder of the turn. Okay, come in handy. Now, there's no points, so you just get that for command points. Pretty cool. Very tough, that. Shield Eternal. Model armed with a Shield Eternal. With a Storm Shield or Combat Shield only. The Shield Eternal replaces the model's Storm Shield or Combat Shield. Grants the bearer 3+ invuln save, and any damage they suffer is halved, rounding up. So, nice. Standard of the Emperor Ascendant. Company Ancient, Chapter Ancient, Primaris Ancient only. If a model has the Standard of the Emperor Ascendant, you can add 1 to the dice roll to see if any friendly chapter models within 6 of the bearer can summon strength to make 1 final attack when they are slain. In addition, whilst within 6 of the bearer, friendly Adeptus Astartes models automatically pass morale, whilst enemy units must subtract 1 from their leadership. So it's a boost to that banner. Teeth of Terror, these are all familiar. All of these are from previous editions here. Models with a chainsword only. Teeth of Terror replaces the bearer's chainsword, becomes +1 strength, AP -2 and 2 damage. That's pretty nasty. Each time the bearer fights, it can make D3 additional attacks with its weapon. God, Teeth of Terror is fantastic. That's really good. You got 4 attacks as a captain, you need 2s to hit. You get an extra D3 attacks on top of that. Wow, at +1 strength, AP -2, and then 2 damage every time. Nice upgrade, that one. Primarchs are off. Here I used to give this to my chaplain, the Stormbolter. Models with bolt gun or mastercrafted bolt gun only. Yeah, so it has to now go to, there's my idea of a Stormbolter out of the window. Replacing that. It's bolter or mastercrafted bolt gun. Primarchs are off replaces the bearer's bolt gun or mastercrafted bolt gun. Range 24, rapid fire 2, so you're going to get 4 shots. At range 12, strength 5, AP -1 and 2 damage. Okay. The Burning Blade. Models with a power sword or mastercrafted power sword only. It replaces those weapons. It's a melee weapon, +2 strength, AP -5, and then 1 damage. Horrible. Yeah, that's pretty good. So some of these are pretty powerful actually. There's definitely a temptation to use some command points to pay for them. Relics. Relics of the chapter. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, just reading here. So you've got relics of the chapter, you can get, they cost 1 point, 1 command point each. Cool. Yeah, no, really good. So yeah, mightily tempted to purchase some of these. If the army works out that way, these would fit in. But these are looking pretty good. They're not very small bonuses. A lot of these are quite small bonuses here. A lot of warlord traits are quite small bonuses, but these are quite significant here. You actually get some pretty good stuff for your command points. Right, so the Tome of Malcador next. Psychic only. The bearer of the Tome of Malcador knows 1 additional psychic power from Librarius Discipline. Okay, so it's a boost for him. Not bad, I could do that one for my regular Psyker. Come in handy. Salamander's Mantle. Right, now we're on to some specifics here. Salamanders only. The wearer of the mantle increases their toughness by 1. Go for that. The Axe of Medusa. There's a real great opportunity for some good customization here. The Axe of Medusa. Iron Hands with a power axe only becomes +2 strength, AP -3 and 2 points of damage. Yeah, pretty good weapon. Raven's Fury. Raven Guard jump pack only. The bearer of the Raven Guard's Fury can advance and charge in the same turn. Furthermore, the bearer can reroll failed charge rolls, so super reliable there. With that upgrade, yeah, these are all pretty good. Mantle of the Stormseer. White Scars only. White Scars Psyker only. The wearer of the Mantle of the Stormseer adds 1 to the psychic test when attempting to manifest the Smite power. Okay. Fist of Vengeance. This is Crimson Fists. Replaces the Power Fist. Becomes ×2 strength, AP -3, and then a straight 3 points of damage. Really good. Really is good, yeah. Sanctic Halo. This is for Ultramarines Captain. The bearer of the Sanctic Halo has a 3+ invuln save and can attempt to deny 1 psychic power in each psychic phase in the same manner as a Psyker. Brilliant. Another really good one there for the Ultramarines. That's fantastic, 3+ invuln. You could really customise a pretty decent captain here for them. The Crusaders Helmets for Black Templars. The wearer of the Crusaders Helmet increases the range of any aura abilities in its data sheet, such as rites of battle, litanies of hate, etc., by 3 inches. It's helpful enough. The Spartan, Imperial Fists models with a bolt pistol only. The Spartan replaces the bolt pistol. Spartan, it's range 12, pistol 2. You get 2 shots now. Strength 4, AP -1, and 2 points of damage. This weapon can target enemy characters even if they are not the closest model to the bearer. Cool, that's one of the good pistols there. One of the best ones out there. Really good. So that's them. They all seem pretty good actually. So further customization that you can do if you put together your own character. I think that's great fun, making your own warlord, giving them a name, sculpting and doing conversion work and so on. And then for the rules, there's tons of bonuses that you can add using stratagems, warlord traits, and then now these chapter relics as well. So really, really good. Okay, so Librarius Discipline here. This will be interesting. I intend to continue using the Psyker for Imperial Fists. May see one perhaps for the Primaris Space Marines. Not sure about that, but we'll see. There's 6 available now instead of 3, which is really good to see 6 of them back. So before the battle, generate the psychic powers of Psykers that can use powers from the Librarius Discipline from the table below. You can roll a dice or you can choose. Okay. So, Veil of Time. And I'm coming from the angle here of defense or enhancement to my Imperial Fist. That's the kind of 2 things I'll be looking for the Psyker to do. Veil of Time is number 1. Veil of Time's warp charge value of 6. It's about average to make that go off. If manifested, pick an Adeptus as starter's unit within 18. Till the start of your next psychic phase, you can reroll charge rolls and advance rolls for that unit, and they always fight first in the fight phase, even if they didn't charge. That's pretty good. If there's a hot spot on the table, you think this unit's going to get charged, Terminators or something, and you're playing defensively, you can just give them the Veil of Time, and that can help them out. Or if you're going on the aggressive, you get your reroll charges and advances. If the enemy has units that have charged or have a similar ability, then you alternate, starting with the Psyker, whose turn it is. Might of Heroes, number 2. Might of Heroes has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select Adeptus as starter's model within 12. Until the start of your next phase, add 1 to its strength, toughness and attacks. You know, that one is good as well. These aren't weak powers here. These are good ones for the Space Marines. I mean, +1 strength, toughness and attacks. Fantastic. It really is good. Again, you've got a good unit of Terminators. Put that on top of them. Psykers are useful, I think. They definitely are. Seem to be really helpful for Space Marines. Psychic Scourge. Remember, you've got Smite here, I believe, you add on top. So you've got Smite, and then you can take these as well. Psychic Scourge has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select a visible enemy unit within 18. Then roll a d6 and add the Psyker's leadership to the result. Your opponent then rolls a d6 and adds the leadership of the unit. If the Psyker's total is greater than the enemy's, the enemy suffers d3 mortal wounds. If it's equal, it's 1 mortal wound. If it's less, nothing happens. Not bad. There's a fair chance of that. You've got to make it go off, and then a sort of a fair chance of being successful with that. But then if you get d3 mortal wounds, you could roll 1 or 2 and just score 1 mortal wound. So not so powerful. I'd rate Smite better, I think. The advantage of this one is you just can choose a unit. I think Smite, you have to go for the closest. Fury of these 2 are the best so far. Fury of the Ancients. There's a warp charge value of 7. It's a bit harder to make this one go off. If manifested, roll 3d6 and select a visible enemy model within that many inches of the Psyker. So between 3 and 18 inches is what you're going to roll. The average is going to be about 9. If no enemy models within range, this power has no further effect. Draw an imaginary straight line between the Psyker and that model. Each enemy unit in this line passes over or through suffers a mortal wound. Yeah, so you could hack down a good number if you line that up pretty good. Just select a visible enemy model. and then it's those caught between that, so you're catching them across their bases. You can cover 4 of them, and they just take mortal wounds. Yeah, Fury of the Ancients. No, it's powerful enough. You know, yeah, no, it's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, pretty good. Psychic Fortress next. So warp charge value of 5, so it's easier for this one to go off. If manifested, select a friendly adept as a starter's unit within 18. To the start of your next psychic phase, that unit automatically passes morale, and you can roll d6 each time it suffers a mortal wound from a psychic power, and a 4+, the mortal wound is ignored. It's a bit of protection there. And boost for morale. Not as powerful as the others, I don't think. Aggressively, Fury of the Ancients so far, and then these two are pretty good. Might of Heroes I like the most, I think. Null Zone has a warp charge value of 8. That's quite tough to make that go off. If manifested, then until the start of your next psychic phase, while they are within 6 inches of the psyker, any models cannot take invuln saves and must halve the result of any psychic test rounding up that they take. Cool, it's quite devastating. Quite hard to make it go off though, you could end up using your stratagems up trying to make that one work with rerolls. But there they are, interesting spread there. And it's sort of, these fit my Imperial Fists, and they fit the style of regular Space Marines as well. You know, sort of protection there and enhancement is the main theme for these. Might of Heroes I think is my favourite. Fury of the Ancients is quite nasty as well. Right, then you've then got tactical objectives. We're not going to go through all of these, but use those. There's some nice specific ones there for Space Marines, and I think that is it. There's Salamanders there, painted up for Primaris. Thousand Suns here, fighting the Imperial Fists. Points values we've covered, and just ends just there. So that is it. The longest review ever on the channel, but it can't be helped. Space Marines was already a massive codex, and then really with the addition of Primaris Space Marines, it's like they've added another faction inside the codex already. So it's a big codex plus another whole faction, so it's made it huge. It is a big codex there, but that's that covered. So that's the review. Leave your comments and feedback about your own unit choices, which units you think are powerful, which ones you would take, and unit combinations, upgrades, unit size, and then what they would do in a game. Maybe you've got plenty of battlefield experience already with units here for Space Marines, then leave your comments and feedback there. And then Space Marine players or people who want to start collecting Space Marines, they can get the information from this review and the Tactica that we've discussed, and then also read through the comments and then learn from that as well. So for the future, keep a lookout for a revamped Imperial Fist army, perhaps with some new units, new structure for them. The Primaris Space Marine project as well, keep a lookout for that. Very excited about painting up a pure Primaris Space Marine army. Still not going to reveal what chapter it is. I've got a pretty good idea of who they will be. If you want to keep up with that, check out the Plus channel. On there there'll be army development there for the Imperial Fists and the Primaris Space Marines. Advanced Tactica videos as well. We take in-depth look at different units specifically, just to really focus in on them. And then you'll gradually start seeing new releases on there first, and then onto the regular channel later as well. But there it is, that's the review for Space Marines, the first codex, full codex that's come out for 8th edition. Got mine from gamingfigures.com, check them out. You can get the codex and a load of other Games Workshop stuff and different gaming systems, all at a discounted rate as well. But there it is, thanks for watching, and tune in next time.